Hey everybody, I'm back. Uh, been a crazy week, but I'm not here for that. Okay, now we're on 2007, my last year that I worked Knott's Scary Farm. I didn't plan on it being my last year, but we'll get to the reasons why during the video. Anyways, so got my rehire card, like usual. Came back. Excuse me. I just had to do stuff outside. Got my exercise for the night. Anyway. Anywho. So, went to the camp out thing again. Got in line. I realized I was wrong. Thanks to talking to my ex-wife this week, or the last week or so. That book I told you about a couple weeks ago, or a couple videos back rather, she got the updated version. She took the kids. I think I mentioned that last week, or last video. However long it's been, my brain's mush right now. Anyway, 07 was the last year for the Vampire Maze as it was known when I worked. I didn't get that maze that year. Not that I didn't want it, I just, we had a contract with the studio. I can't remember which studio put the movie out, but that year, the movie Beowulf came out, if you guys remember. The CG animated movie with Angelina Jolie, Anthony Hopkins, and Ray Winstone. No, was it Ray Winstone? I believe. I'll look that up real quick, just so I have my facts right. It was Robert Zemeckis' film. Ray Winstone, Anthony Hopkins, John Malkovich, Robin Wright Penn, Angelina Jolie, and Crispin Glover. I don't think it did well in the box office. It barely made over its budget back. It was $150 million to make, or the budget. Box office was $196.4 million. So, it didn't do that well. Okay, enough about the movie, since I know the strikes are going on, and it was a struck studio. Yeah. So, anyways, it was set up a Viking thing. You had your entrance of the mead hall. You walk in, go past the mead hall. You had the Grendel character. It was a giant, partially man-operated, partially machine or air pump machine type animatronic. It was about 10, 12 feet tall. It was on air shocks that moved back and forth, up and down kind of thing, from like the waist area. And then I think it made noise, but it needed a person behind it operating the arms with like giant sticks, coming out the elbows. There was a cave scene where like the demon witch, Grendel's mother, lived, whatever. And there was some others. I walked through the entire maze maybe twice. I was in the front. I was one of the Vikings in the mead hall, so I kind of stayed in my area. I had a few friends that came through, and I walked through on my breaks, so it was like twice. Nothing super big happened when it came to celebrity encounters or anything like that. I believe some of the cast of the movie came through um, one night on like a preview thing. Another night, the cast of the OC came through because that show was still relatively big at the time. I never watched it, not my thing. But other than that, I don't think anything too big. There were like 4 or 5 guys in my area. I suggested to them if they wanted to get a good realization of how Vikings really act, the best Hollywood representation up to that point was the 13th Warrior, or go back and read the book Eaters of the Dead. It's based off of Michael Crichton. Anyways, because like I said, out of all of film history up to that point, those were the most accurate representations of Vikings that we had. They didn't really wear horn helmets. I mean, they had helmets. Some may have had a horn on it or some kind of ornamentation on it, but that wasn't their uniform. That was just maybe a few here and there. Yes, I can go into all kinds of Norse mythology and Northern Europe stuff too. I'm big on that. Anyway, enough of the backstory. So, in my area, they kind of added a Viking ship in there just to, for decor, but whatever. So that was a partial ship, like built into the wall, if I remember right. Well, for the most part, it was just a walkway that curved around to the next hallway, and that was it. It was kind of hard to be scary in that maze. My gag line was, "What's in your wallet?" Because that was the going thing with the Capital One commercial at the time that had the Vikings in it. So, I was playing off that. Some people were like, "Wait, what do you?" They didn't get it at first. Some people, they laughed and they knew what I was doing. Others, it took them a minute, or I had to break characters, kind of. Like, "Don't you watch TV?" Capital One commercials, But that was where the really confused people, where people thought I was trying to rob them, which I wasn't, but Anyways, the first few weeks, since we started in the last week or so of September, usually, and then run through Halloween night. So, the last few weeks were great. The first few weeks were great. Until the fateful day of October 3rd. Which was, if I remember, was a Wednesday or a Thursday. Let me double check my calendar. Go back that far. Sorry, I'm just going through my phone's calendar real quick. Almost there. It was a Wednesday, so yeah. See, the event usually runs. Well, it used to run Wednesday through Sunday. We have Monday and Tuesday off. Except for the last week, we run a week and a half straight through. It was Hell Week. So the last week and a half, we ran straight through. And sometimes we'd extend it to November 1st. But anyways, so Wednesday, October 3rd, that morning, I ended up spending in the hospital near my house in Anaheim, which was where I lived at the time. Home of Disneyland, the Angels, etc. The Ducks. The Clippers were there for a little while. But no one cares about the Clippers, right? I don't even like basketball, but, I at least know that much. Anyway. Sorry. Brain fart. Oh, okay. So, my grandmother that morning had gotten sick. We took her to the hospital. or maybe it was a day or two before. So it was on my weekend. My grandmother had gotten sick, and my mother, my brother, and I were living with my grandmother at the time, helping take care of her, blah blah blah. It was something she had some gas, in her chest, like heartburn, gastrointestinal problems, whatever. So I'd run to the store, got her some over-the-counter medication for it, which was fine. But then she started to get worse. We went to take her to the hospital, and apparently she'd had a small heart attack, from which she never recovered. Earlier that year, just before 6 days before his birthday, his 90th birthday, my grandfather passed away. I think it was January. I can't remember which birthday was it now. I feel horrible about that. But anyway, so, my grandmother had a small heart. We think it was broken heart, pretty much, is what caused a heart attack. But that's just our family's guess. So, Wednesday morning, the 3rd, she passed away. I'm distraught, obviously. I love my grandparents very much. They pretty much raised me. So, I technically may not be Gen X, but I have a lot of Gen X mentality because I was raised by, people from the greatest generation, whatever you want to call it. My mom's technically a boomer. I was born in 81. So I'm in that cusp era between X and millennial. I mean, for a while I was Gen X, but they changed it, I guess. Anyway, sorry, sidetracked. You know how I get. I talk, I ramble. But I have a lot of that mentality because I was raised pretty much. My mom worked, single mom, so World War II generation grandparents raised me. So I'm infatuated with the past, especially that era, 30s, 40s, 50s. So anyways, my grandmother was 80 something. She passed away that day, and I tried to go to work that night. I went to work. I was in costume. I tried. But I just could not get into character. I couldn't do anything. I was just on my break. I told my supervisor, I'm like, you know what? I gotta go home. I can't tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. Just tonight, I thought I could do it. And they understood. They weren't mad at me. I didn't get penalized for missing a night or anything like that. I called my uncle. He picked me up. We went out for a drive, just talked. I was unfortunately didn't have a car at the time. My license had been suspended over something stupid. A couple of fixed tickets that I forgot about because the car that they were on I got rid of, and I just didn't worry about it after that. Yeah, young and dumb, whatever. So I was gonna walk the 3 miles home in the dark. I don't care. It's some parts of that walk are not good. I don't care how big you are, how brave you are. It's just, yeah. Anyway, I'll call my uncle. He picked me up. We went out to get a late night dinner at some, open late fast food place, and we talked and hung out, and I went home. Next day I come into work, check in, get my costume, etc. I asked my direct supervisor, who was in charge of the maze, or the talent for that maze, because I didn't feel like getting back in the costume, at least for a while. If I could switch with the puppeteer guy that ran the Grendel puppet. Now, if you don't know the story of Beowulf, I'm not going to go into it now. You can look it up. or I'll do a separate video on mythology from that part of the world later, maybe, if I remember. But anyway, and that was fine. So, and I ended up doing that the rest of the run, and it was fun. I mean, it was okay. You know, I just sat there in a chair behind the puppet, and I operated these big, long pieces of pretty much rebar almost. It wasn't rebar, but felt like it. It was just smaller diameter than regular that they used. And I pushed the arms out and whatever. The only fun thing I had doing was I had a 4-cell Maglite back when they were still popular. I was a security guard at the time as well. I stopped the movie. That's why I missed 04, was I was working security. And oh no, I got out of the business at that time. I was doing other just part-time side jobs. I had wanted out of security and was trying to find my footing elsewhere, and which is funny. I'm back in security now. But anywho, so I bring it to work with me, especially at night if I had to walk home. Whatever, I have a light and a defensive, a piece of self-defense with me. So people would come by and they would want pictures of the Grendel puppet, which I understand. But some of these people's cameras had super bright flashes, and it was super dark where back behind there where I was at. So I'm sitting there, doing this, and I'm getting flashed in the eyes with these, camera, because this was before they had camera phones, but they were the old flip phones. They weren't really smartphones yet. So people had actual real cameras or digital cameras, and some of those flashes were super bright, and when they would blind me, I'd get mad. So I'd take my light and I'd shine it back to their camera. I probably ruined their photos. I didn't care. I wasn't there for their, I was there to scare them, not make their night. Not pose for pictures. I made some good friends out of that maze. I'm still friends with most of them. Unfortunately, one of the guys who was one of the Vikings in my room for the first few weeks before I switched, he passed away a few years back. The woman he was dating at the time, they'd broken up since then, but she had reached out to me and let me know, which sucks. He was a pretty good drummer. He lived near me. We kind of hung out and messed around with music, I'm kind of okay at guitar, not really. I know like 3 chords, and I mess with those all the time. I know a couple one finger down the, fretboard songs, but, and I've been playing guitar since I was a little kid, but I never really, I was more of a piano player than guitar. The guitar was just something just on the side, and I stopped for a while, and then I went back, and I only remember like 3 or 4 chords. Go figure, right? I have one here. I might pick it up again, but it's some crappy acoustic that I have to restring and everything. But anyway, probably ice. But sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, we had this like one main group that we'd hang out. We called one of them Sexy Mama. One was, I think, my wife, work wife. I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. One was the dad. We just kind of made our little family kind of thing. Even though the guy that was the dad was younger than me, and then the mom she's older than me, but not that much. And there was another, a couple others, whatever. It was like, the extra boyfriend of one of the girls and with brothers and whatever. Yeah, it wasn't very eventful though, for the most part, except for my personal family tragedy, and then having one blind people was trying to take pictures of me, or of my puppet that was operating. Well, yeah, I mean, it did okay. It was not my. Um, it's funny. I'm in a couple groups on Facebook, for fans of the event, and one of my buddies, who is the husband of one of my friends from that I was in that maze with, he posted a survey or a question on one of the groups the other day. Give me a second here. Oh, that's not it. Who is that? Ah, okay. Sorry. Instagram notification. Don't care about that. Excuse me. He posted what are your top 5 to 10 all my favorite mazes at the event. He went first, and I commented my top 10 favorite were, of course, Horrorwood Hotel / Fright Festival, the Asylum one, that one, the Underground. I think I talked about it was an industrial gothic theme. Lord of the Vampire, which I was in. We had a clown maze called Carnival Carnivorous Clowns, or C3, which was a hilariously fun maze. Those are the old school ones from the years I worked. I mean, there are older ones from before, but I'd never been to it before I worked it, so I never saw any of the older mazes that were not already there the year I started. So mazes that had, so from 1973 up until anything that ran for, like in the 70s and 80s, 90s, up until 99. So 2000 was my first year. So anything from 73 up until 1999, I never saw. And all mazes have about a 4 to 5 year lifespan, some a little less, some a little more, depending on how popular they are. So yeah, there's a lot I missed, but that's fine. But so Horrorwood Asylum, Underground, Vampire, and C3 were either new from 2000 on or were carryovers from before. Paranormal Inc. was a newer one. They put it after I left. It was the late 2000s. I don't remember, like, no, maybe it was in 2010s, because it was in 2010s, maybe late 2010s. It was pretty much an asylum like the one I worked in, but it was haunted, plus it had the crazies, plus it was haunted. And pretty much they were taking from all of these ghost hunting shows where you're, going through, where they go through old jails and asylums and houses, and it was, so they had a faux camera crew set up, and like they were going to take you through one of these haunted, like, ghost hunting shows or documentaries or whatever. And it was a cool design. I said if I ever came back to work it, I would definitely go. But let me finish this and I'll get back to why I never came back. Shadowlands, another favorite maze, designed by an acquaintance of mine. We're not really good. We're Facebook friends, but he works at the park. We've met maybe twice in passing. It wasn't even like a, not even introduced each other. We know who each other are, but that's about it. He's a singer for the band Winds of Plague. If you're into metalcore, here's what they are. Deathcore, sorry. There's too many metal genres. I'm a metalhead, but I still get them all confused. sometimes they all sound the same to me. Especially the more hardcore, extreme type bands. But anyway, well, a lot of their albums have a samurai, Japanese theme to the album cover. Possibly the lyrics, you know how deathcore is, if you're into that. But yeah, so he kind of took. It's funny, the shirt for that maze was actually, I noticed it later on when I was listening to one of their albums. Which I love their music. It's just like I said, it's all whatever, gutturals, and I don't pay attention to the lyrics. I'm like, it's got cool, musicianship. When it comes to more extreme metal, I listen more for the. I don't care about the lyrics. I listen more for the musicianship, because a lot of this stuff's technically good. Guitar, bass, drums, whatever. Anyway, I'm listening to one of their albums, and I looked at the album cover, and I'm like, and I'm wearing the shirt for that maze that year, or after I went that year as a guest, and I looked at the shirt, looked at the album cover, I'm like, sneaky. He tweaked the album cover a little bit, but pretty much made it the shirt for the maze, which is pretty cool. But it was a samurai theme, Japanese. And then another favorite of mine was Dark Ride, which was pretty much if you're a theme park enthusiast or a general knowledge of theme park rides, you know what a Dark Ride is. Prime example: Haunted Mansion, Disneyland, Small World, Pirates Caribbean. Any indoor ride is considered, where you're not really. Well, maybe even Splash or Space Mountain might be considered a dark ride because you're inside. But usually it's not a roller coaster; it's just a leisurely ride. Or maybe it spins, kind of exciting, like Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin, where you're in your little cart that spins around and does stuff. But it's not a roller coaster usually. It's more of a flatland ride where you're in a little cart and you go up and down a little hill. Well, yeah, you get the point. Anyway, it was an abandoned theme park ride, dark ride, and yeah, the evil clowns and undead theme park workers took over. It was cool. Had great artwork. That one's more of a favorite of mine because the artwork inside and the set design than the actual actors and scare factor. I don't get scared easy anymore, obviously. So yeah, there were 3 newer ones that I have as favorites, and then which all of them are gone now. But because obviously that they have their lifespan, they ran out, and I haven't been in a couple of years since before COVID, so I have to readjust here. Anyway, then my last 2 favorites, there's one called The Inquisition, based on the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects the Inquisition. Anyways, sorry, had to throw it in Monty Python or Mel Brooks, whatever thing there. And then there was one based on Alice in Wonderland called Malice in Wonderland. It was bright and colorful and twisted and demented, and it was great. And those are my top 10 favorites. I mean, but let's see. Anyways, so back to the point of why I don't work there anymore, or I stopped working there. Sorry, I got a text. My friend's an artist, and she always sends me her work as it's in progress, and wants my. I have no taste. I mean, I love art, but I have no taste. I love art history and that kind of thing. But she sends me some sort of pictures one time. Sometimes I give her input on how I think it might look. Sometimes you get a hit, sometimes you get a miss. But it's all good. Anywho. Okay. I'd show you guys, but it's unfinished work, and I don't want to put that out there yet. But so the reason I don't work anymore is because after October that year we got done, the house we were living in got taken back by the bank. I mean, they owned the house, but they sold. The house was to be sold back to the bank, so the family can get their cut of the inheritance money, which still took about 6 months or more to get. No, more than that, a couple of years before I even got anything. Yeah, that was. Anyway, so the house sold, so we all had to move. Me and a former friend of mine moved out of state to Minnesota. I met a girl online. We hit it off. I moved out to be with her. My friend wanted to go with me. She started talking to her roommate. They hit it off. So we moved in with them. Yes, I moved from California. The farthest I'd been out of California was Mexico and Arizona and the Pacific Northwest. Before then, I'd never been to Nevada. I'd never been. I'd always been somewhere on the West Coast. Arizona was the farthest out of California I'd been, like east. But so we hopped on a Greyhound and went out to Minnesota. It took about a week. No, a couple days. Stopping a few hours for people to get food or have smoke breaks or whatever, the usual. But yeah, towards the end of December we moved out there. So it's warm in California still in December usually, especially where I live. I mean, well, that year it was pretty warm. So I'm in shorts and a t-shirt and combat boots because that was my style back then. It still is, but with a little weight gain, I can't really wear the boots anymore. My ankles are kind of whatever. I gotta get back down to that. Actually, we were stuck in South Dakota for a couple hours, waiting for our next transfer. Made some great friends on the Greyhound ride, though. One I still talk to, the other one, she's very flaky. She's had a rough life since then, but she knows how to get a hold of me if she needs to. But what was I going to say? Sorry, so, yeah, we get off the bus in, I think we got off in Mankato, Minnesota. It was 2007, I can't remember. And it is cold, it is snowing. Yeah, and I grabbed my bag, my duffel bag, and so, I packed up what I could in the duffel bag and sold everything else. And that was it. Yeah, so I get off that bus and it is cold. It didn't bother me too much. I love cold weather, so. And I've been in the snow because we have mountains here, but it doesn't. Yeah, California mountain snow. I mean, it snows in the mountains of California, and yeah, California snow and cold is not anywhere compared to the Midwest. But yeah, get off the bus. That girl, the woman I was moving in with, her brother came and picked us up because she didn't have a car. Yeah, and I was planning on staying out there, but that didn't work out. It lasted about a year. My buddy decided to stay out there. At the time, he was still my buddy. That's why I said that. I came back. Actually, I stopped in Oregon first. Had some things I had to do out there. Then I came back out of California. And moved in with my, at the time, soon-to-be wife. And then, well, that just ended just this last November. Our divorce was final. We got married in 2010, and then I said divorce was. We separated in 2018. Divorce, and we finally got to finalize the divorce at the end of last year. That's as far as I'm going to go into that whole thing, but I just didn't have a car at the time or a way to get back down to. We ended up moving out about 75 miles from the park, and I still live that far, and so it's a pain to get out there. Even though I did work for Disney for a few months in 2019 up until March of 2020 when the world shut down. But yeah. Yeah, I would love to go back and work it again, but I'm not I'm not that kind of shape anymore. I can't be running around without it anymore and everything. I do have fun going as a guest. I doubt I'll make it this year. My car is in desperate need of some work, and I can't afford to even get that done. So I'm babying my car to and from work just to hoping it doesn't break down on me on the way to or from work. So I got to get new wheel bearings, and I don't even know which type. I don't even know which wheel it's on. It might be 1, 2, or 3, or even 4 of them. Even though I replaced one of them about a year and a half ago, so that one's probably okay. But the other ones are, yeah. Anyway, sorry I've been rambling, but yeah, that's a lot of reasons why I'm not going back. It was a great run. I had fun. I enjoyed it. And I enjoy being there as a guest now. So, I made great friends along the way. I've had some really cool guest encounters and really bad ones. And my next video I make is going to be the bad guest encounters. The drunks, the idiots, the morons, the wannabe gangbangers, etc. There's some crazy stories. I may not remember them all, but I'll try to get you ones I remember. But anyways, until next time, I'm going to sign out. I'm going to go finish watching my show and relax the rest of the night. I have to go back to work tomorrow, so this is my last day of freedom for the week. But yeah, have a great night, morning, wherever you are. Again, hit those buttons, ring the bells, do what you need to do. I love you all, wherever you are in the world, even if I don't know you. Have a great night. Bye.